All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are going deep on tactful and diplomatic communication.
Yeah. Sounds intense.
It is, in a good way, though.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, so we've got all these excerpts basically about how to, express your boundaries and needs and expectations
Yeah.
without, things blowing up in your
Right?
face.
Like pick your battles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know how I always love to kind of dig into like the psychology behind things?
Yeah.
What I found so interesting is how much psychology is like wrapped up in how to communicate effectively.
It's really true.
It's not just about being nice. It's
Yeah.
like understanding people's like deep motivations
Totally.
and needs.
One of the things that really resonated with me when I was reading these excerpts was the difference between ultimatums and options.
Oh, interesting.
And it sounds like so basic,
Right.
but it really ties into this need that we all have, this autonomy that's talked about in self-determination theory.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, when you think about when someone gives you an ultimatum, it feels controlling.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It feels like they're taking away your choice.
Right.
So you just resist right away, even if it's a reasonable request.
Yeah.
But if you offer options, you're acknowledging the other person's ability to choose.
Right.
You're saying, hey, I respect that you can make a decision, and here's a couple of ways we could go.
I like that.
So it becomes more collaborative.
Totally. Oh, my gosh. I notice this in my own life so much.
I bet.
If someone gives me like feedback, if it's framed as a suggestion, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
Right.
But if it's a demand, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Exactly.
So interesting.
And, there's more to it. These excerpts also mention something called nonviolent communication, or NVC.
Okay.
And that's all about expressing your needs without blame.
That's something I struggle with, I feel like.
I think it's hard.
Yeah, like how do you even do that?
So it's all about the framing.
Okay.
So let's say you're feeling neglected in a relationship. Instead of saying, you never spend any time with me, which is putting it all on the other person.
Oh, yeah, right. That's accusatory.
You could say, I've been feeling a little disconnected lately. I wonder if we could plan a regular date night.
Ah, I see.
Or find some other way to connect.
You're still getting across your needs,
Exactly.
but in a way that invites the person in to help solve the problem.
Exactly.
I love that.
And so from a behavioral psych perspective, this is like positive reinforcement.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
giving these appealing options, and you're much more likely to get your need met
That makes total sense.
and strengthen the relationship at the same time.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
Yeah.
So it's not just about, avoiding conflict. It's really about making it
Yeah.
more positive.
A positive dynamic.
Yeah, and like collaborative.
Totally.
Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks here.
Okay.
How does this actually look in like different types of relationships?
Yeah.
So we've been talking a lot about romantic, but what about like family, friends, coworkers?
Well, it really does apply across the board.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter if it's your partner or your child or even your boss or that neighbor that's always talking your ear off.
Right. Yeah.
The tact and diplomacy is the key.
I love that. Okay, so let's get some real life examples here.
All right.
So let's start with family.
Okay.
So classic, you're a parent, you're trying to get your teenager to clean their room.
Oh, the age-old battle.
Right. So instead of saying clean your room now or you're grounded,
Right.
which is probably just going to get resistance.
Yeah, for sure.
What if you said, hey, I've noticed your room could use a little tidying up.
Yeah.
Would you rather do it before dinner or after?
That's it. Give them the choice.
Give them the choice. That's so interesting.
Yeah,
Because you're still setting that boundary.
absolutely.
Like the room needs to be clean, but you're giving them that little bit of like
Right.
power autonomy.
And that will go a long way.
So interesting. Okay, let's shift gears and go to the workplace. So you're a manager. You've got a deadline looming.
Yeah.
Your team needs to step it up. So you're picturing that stereotypical boss.
Oh, I know the type.
Get it done by tomorrow or you're fired.
Yeah. No, that's not going to work.
Creates this
Oh, it
coordinate-
creates resentment.
resentment, fear.
Yeah.
What if instead of saying that, you said, I know this is a tight turnaround,
Yeah.
but we really need to hit this deadline.
Right.
Are there any challenges you foresee? Is there anything I can do to support you?
Yeah. Show them that you're on their team.
It's a totally different vibe.
It is.
Like, I respect you. I want to work with you
Yeah.
to achieve this goal. It's not like I'm,
Right.
the big bad boss.
You're not just barking orders.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Wow. This is amazing.
And, thinking bigger picture here.
Yeah.
There's a theory called social exchange theory.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah, and that looks at relationships as kind of a balance of costs and benefits. And so when you're communicating in a way that's minimizing conflict and maximizing those positive interactions,
Right.
that's going to make the relationship more rewarding
I love that.
for both people.
It's so true.
Yeah,
So you're kind of tipping the scales towards a better relationship.
exactly.
It's so smart. So it's not just about, you know, smoothing things over in the moment. It's like you're creating this foundation
You are. That's a great way to put it.
for a stronger relationship. This is amazing. I feel like we've already covered so much.
I know.
We've got like statements, we've got open-ended questions, we've got emotional intelligence.
I think we need a part 2.
We need a part 2. This is amazing. Okay, so we're going to pause here.
Right.
But everybody listening, be sure to tune in next time for part 2.
Yeah, we're going to get even deeper.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome back. I am still thinking about all the amazing stuff we talked about in the last part.
Yeah, there was a lot.
It's like mind-blowing. So, it's one thing to like understand all these ideas.
Right.
But how do we actually like use them?
Yeah, let's get practical.
Yeah, let's get practical.
All right.
What are like some tools and strategies we can use like right now?
Well, okay, so we were talking about how phrasing things as choices instead of ultimatums can like really shift the dynamic.
Uh-huh.
But what about those times where you need to set a boundary?
Oh, yeah, good point.
How do you do that in a way that doesn't sound controlling?
That is a really good question
Yeah.
because boundaries are so important.
They are.
But I know I've had trouble like expressing them well. It's easy to fall into that trap of like,
Yeah.
you always hot or you never,
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
which is like not helpful.
No, it just shuts down the conversation.
Right, exactly.
So that's where those I statements are so helpful.
Okay, remind me about I statements.
So it's taking the focus off of blaming the other person
Uh-huh.
and putting it on like your own feelings and needs.
Okay, give me an example.
Okay, so let's say your partner has this habit of like texting during dinner.
Ugh, the worst.
Yeah, and it really bugs you.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, put your phone away,
You're always on your phone.
right,
Yeah.
you could say something like, I feel a little disconnected when we're having dinner and one of us is on their phone.
Oh, that's good.
I really value this time to connect with you, and I'd love it if we could both make an effort to be more present.
That's so much better.
Right?
It's not like you're attacking them.
Exactly.
You're just saying, hey, this is how I feel.
This is my experience.
And like inviting
Uh-huh.
them to change it with you.
Yeah, it's collaborative.
So smart.
And you're focused on that positive outcome you want.
Oh, yeah.
That connection.
The connection, right?
That quality time.
Yeah, so good.
It's good stuff.
I'm seeing pattern here.
What's that?
It's like moving away from blame and demands
Right.
and moving toward understanding and working together.
Collaboration, yeah.
So what about like when you need to give someone feedback or address a problem?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, feels kind of scary.
It does.
Like, how do you do that without making someone mad?
That's where those open-ended questions come in.
Ooh, yes. Tell me more.
So let's say a coworker keeps missing deadlines.
Okay, classic.
And it's like messing up your workflow.
Right.
So instead of, giving them a lecture
Right.
about responsibility,
Yeah.
you could say something like, hey, I noticed the deadline for the project got pushed back a couple of times.
Mhm.
Is there anything going on that's making it difficult to meet the deadline?
Ooh, I like that.
So you're not assuming anything.
Yeah, you're not like, you're lazy.
Right, you're just curious.
Yeah, just curious.
What's going on? What's happening?
And maybe you can like figure out a solution together.
Exactly. It shows respect.
I love it. This is so good.
It is good stuff.
But okay, you mentioned emotional intelligence
Right.
earlier. How does that fit into this whole thing?
Right. Emotional intelligence is like key for communicating well.
In what way?
Well, it's being aware of your own emotions and how they're impacting your communication,
Uh-huh.
but it's also about being tuned into the other person's emotions.
So it's like having this radar
Yeah, like a sixth sense.
for the emotional landscape of the conversation.
Yeah, you're picking up on those subtle cues.
Right.
Like their body language and their tone of voice.
Okay, so you can kind of respond in a way that is sensitive and understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see how that would be so helpful with conflict resolution.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, things get heated, you say things you don't mean.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like emotions are running the show.
They hijack the conversation.
So how do you stop that?
Well, being able to regulate your own emotions is huge.
Okay.
If you're feeling overwhelmed, take a pause.
Good idea.
Say, I need a minute to collect my thoughts before we continue.
That's a good idea.
That way you can come back to it calmer and you won't say something you regret.
And you're kind of modeling that for the other person too.
You're showing them a healthy way to handle it.
So important.
It is. And, speaking of modeling healthy communication,
Uh-huh.
remember that active listening thing we talked about?
Yes, active listening. Tell me more about that.
It's really about more than just hearing the words.
Okay.
It's about being present,
Mm-hmm.
paying attention to their nonverbals,
Right.
really making an effort to understand their point of view.
I'm so bad at this.
It's hard.
I'm like thinking of my response while they're still talking.
Yeah, we've all done that.
Yeah.
But active listening means quieting those thoughts
Okay.
and really tuning in.
So how do you do that? How do you become like an active listening ninja?
Well, first of all, get rid of distractions.
Okay.
Phones, laptops, anything.
Yeah.
Make eye contact, have open body language, and don't interrupt.
These are good tips. Simple but good.
Simple but effective.
Yeah.
And you can actually use your words to show you're listening.
Oh, like how?
Like paraphrasing.
Oh.
So you can say, what I'm hearing is,
Right.
or let me make sure I understand.
Uh-huh.
And then you summarize what they said.
Oh, I like
It
that.
shows you're paying attention.
Yeah.
And it gives them a chance to clarify.
Yeah, if you got it wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good for preventing like misunderstandings.
Yeah, and arguments.
Yeah.
You can also ask clarifying questions.
Okay.
So instead of assuming you know what they mean,
Right.
you say something like, can you tell me more about that?
Oh, I see.
Or what made you feel that way?
Shows you're really trying to understand.
It does.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It builds trust.
Okay, so we've got all these amazing tools.
Yeah.
But what about when things get really heated? Like there's a lot of conflict and tension.
Yeah, those really tough conversations.
Yeah, is there like a tactful way to handle that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm ready.
But I think we need to save that for part 3.
Oh, man.
I know, cliffhanger.
This is too much good stuff. Okay. So we're going to pause here, everybody listening.
Right.
Come back for part 3.
It's going to be good.
Where we're going to talk about all that conflict resolution
Yeah,
stuff.
we're going to get into it.
It's going to be awesome. Okay, we're back and ready to tackle the tough stuff.
The really tough stuff.
The communication situations where, like, emotions are just high.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
just like,
It happens.
how do we handle this?
Well, it's inevitable in any relationship, right?
True.
But it doesn't have to be a relationship killer.
That's good.
In fact, with the right approach, it can actually make the relationship stronger.
Okay, I like that. So conflict resolution.
Yeah.
How do we do it?
Well, first of all, remember everything we talked about.
Oh, right, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff, choices, not ultimatums,
Ah.
statements,
Right.
open-ended questions, active listening. Those are your tools.
So we're not trying to win.
No, it's not a...
We're trying to, like, come together.
It's collaboration.
Yeah, and I think one of the most important things to do when things are getting heated
Yeah,
is just acknowledge how the other person's feeling.
absolutely. Validation is key.
Okay, what does that look like?
So let's say you and your partner are disagreeing about money.
Always a fun one.
Always a touchy subject.
Yeah,
So instead of just like dismissing their concerns,
right.
you could say, I hear that you're feeling stressed about our budget, and I understand why that's important to you.
Oh, I see. So you're not saying they're wrong.
No, you're validating their feelings.
Right.
Even if you don't agree.
Even if you don't agree. Okay.
That can really de-escalate things.
Yeah, because you're saying, like, I see you.
Exactly. I hear.
Your feelings are valid.
Right.
Okay, that's a really good tip.
And from there, you can start to explore those different perspectives
Wow.
with curiosity and, really try to find a solution that works for both of you.
So we're not trying to win.
No,
Yeah.
we're trying to find that win-win.
Win-win. Okay, I love that. And this makes me think of something you mentioned earlier.
What's that?
The 4 horsemen.
Ah, yes, the Gottman's 4 Horsemen.
Right, and these are like communication patterns that are like really bad for relationships.
Yeah, they're very destructive.
Can you remind us what those are?
Yeah, so John Gottman, he's a relationship researcher. He identified these 4 communication styles that predict relationship breakdown.
Okay, scary.
Yeah, so there's criticism,
Okay.
contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling.
Okay, let's break those down.
Yeah.
So what's criticism?
Criticism is different from just complaining. It's attacking the person's character,
Oh,
not the behavior.
got it.
So instead of saying, I'm frustrated you didn't take out the trash,
Uh-huh.
you'd say something like, you're so lazy and inconsiderate.
Ouch.
Yeah, you see how that's different.
Yeah, one is about the action and one is like, you are a bad person.
Exactly, and that makes people defensive.
Right, which is the next one.
Which is the next horseman. Defensiveness is basically deflecting responsibility.
So like, well, if you had reminded me.
Yeah, it's not my fault.
Right. You made me do this.
Right, and that just escalates the conflict.
Okay, and then contempt. That sounds rough.
Contempt is the worst. It's like disgust or superiority.
Well,
It's putting the other person down.
like eye-rolling and sarcasm and stuff.
Exactly, mockery, name-calling, it creates this climate of disrespect.
Right, you're just being mean, basically.
Yeah, and that's really damaging to the relationship.
And then the last one, stonewalling.
Yeah, stonewalling is withdrawing from the conversation.
Oh, like the silent treatment.
Yeah, could be physical or emotional, just shutting down.
I've seen this.
Yeah, and it's really frustrating for the other person.
Because they feel ignored.
Yeah, like you don't care.
So how do we avoid these four horsemen?
Well, awareness is the first step.
Okay.
Just knowing about them can help you catch yourself.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And remember, tact is about respecting yourself and the other person.
That's right.
So instead of criticizing, complain specifically. Instead of contempt, try to understand their perspective.
Oh,
Instead of getting defensive, take responsibility.
right.
And instead of stonewalling, communicate that you need a break.
Okay, so we're not saying you're never going to do these things,
No, we're all human.
but we can catch ourselves and be like, oh, I'm being a horseman.
Exactly, and choose a different path.
I love that.
It takes practice,
That's true.
but the more you practice, the better you'll get at it.
I feel like we've learned so much today.
We have. It's been a great deep dive.
Any resources for people who want to learn more?
Oh, yeah. Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg is great.
Oh, classic.
And The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman.
Also classic.
Those are good starting points.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been my pleasure.
It was awesome. And everyone listening, remember, you have the power to make your relationships better.
You do.
It all starts with how you communicate.
That's it.